Welcome, you curious minds, to Actum Sudan's podcast. We're your guides to unearthing the fascinating stories, the profound insights, and the hidden histories within Sudanese books and authors.
Exactly. Think of us as your shortcut to being truly well-informed, but, with surprising facts and maybe just enough humor to keep you hooked.
And today, we're kicking off what promises to be a really extraordinary journey. This isn't just one discussion. It's the first deep dive in a multi-part series, custom-tailored for you, our listener.
Right. Whether you're prepping for a meeting, getting up to speed on a new field, or maybe you're just intensely curious about one of Sudan's most, remarkable figures.
That's right. Today, we're starting part one of the incredible, almost unbelievable life of Ahmed Hassan Matar, a man often called the Sinbad from the Sudan.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine this. A misty morning, Port Sudan, 1923. There's a young man, really just a boy, standing on the docks.
Right.
He's got no money, no passport, just this huge dream to see the world. And he's about to stow away on a ship, leaving everything.
Wow, that's quite an image to start with.
It really is. It really is. It feels almost cinematic,
Mm.
But it's the real beginning of just an absolutely extraordinary life.
Truly extraordinary.
And this is actually the first of our deep dives focusing entirely on his incredible story. We really want to unlock insights into the history of Sudan, this vibrant nation, all through the lens of one of its most, fascinating sons.
And it promises to be quite a journey, doesn't it? Ahmed Hassan Matar, he was so much more than just an adventurer. He was a journalist, a revolutionary, a diplomat, a relentless wanderer.
Mhm.
His life gives us this unique window, not just into Sudanese history, which is crucial, but also into those broader Pan-African and anti-colonial movements that were bubbling up in the 20th century.
Absolutely.
His story really just highlights the sheer audacity, the resilience, the intellectual curiosity of one individual against the world sometimes.
It really does. So our mission today, essentially, is to meticulously unpack that journey. We'll start with his really diverse origins, those early rebellions.
Right, the roots.
Then move through his secret missions, uncovering corruption. Can you believe it? Saving his country millions.
That's a story in itself.
Totally. Then his daring global escapades, brushes with world powers, right up to these moments of quiet humanity, and his pretty unexpected diplomatic career later on. So whether you're maybe part of the Sudanese diaspora looking to reconnect with a hidden gem from your history, or perhaps you're an international listener, just curious about these untold stories that shaped the 20th century.
Or maybe just fascinated by resilience, by history.
Exactly. This deep dive is your shortcut to getting properly informed. Get ready for some surprising facts, plenty of aha moments, I think. Let's really get into this incredible life.
Let's do it.
Okay, so to really understand the man Ahmed Hassan Matar became this Sinbad from the Sudan, we absolutely have to start at the beginning. His roots.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't just born anywhere. He was born into this really unique mix of cultures and history. And you feel like that must have laid the groundwork for his later, global outlook.
That's absolutely right. You can't understand Matar without understanding where he came from. He was born in Omdurman, a really historic city, on February 29th, 1904, leap year baby.
Oh.
His father was Haj Hassan Ibrahim Ali Abdu, known locally as Hassan Chouas. Now get this, he had actually served as an aide to Abdullah al-Taishi.
The Khalifa, successor to the Mahdi.
The very same. During the Mahdist era, and for anyone listening who might not know, the Mahdist era was this incredibly pivotal period in Sudan. A powerful anti-colonial religious political movement that actually kicked out the Turco-Egyptian rulers and then fiercely resisted the British.
So his father was right there, connected to the heart of Sudanese sovereignty, Sudanese defiance against foreign powers.
Exactly. It means there's this family lineage deeply involved in significant national movements. It's in his blood, so to speak.
And his mother.
His mother, Haja Amina bint Muhammad, she was Sudanese too, from a village just south of Khartoum. But the paternal lineage, that's where it gets even more layered.
Right. You mentioned Egyptian and Lebanese connections.
Yeah. His ancestor, Haj Ali Abdu, actually came to Sudan from Egypt, from Al-Mahala al-Kubra, way back around 1820. This was during the first Turco-Egyptian rule, and here he married a Lebanese woman.
Wow. So Sudanese, Egyptian, Lebanese. Just imagine the blend of stories, the perspectives he would have grown up with.
Exactly. Think about it. It's not just a diverse family tree. It's exposure to different cultural norms, maybe different experiences of colonialism, a much broader sense of identity from day one.
You can see how that might make him, uniquely empathetic later on.
Yeah.
Or maybe just strategically smarter when dealing with international politics.
Both, probably. Able to bridge cultural divides others wouldn't even see. This multi-ethnic, historically plugged-in background really marks him as someone born at a crossroads. It definitely served him well later.
And his childhood wasn't exactly spent standing still, was it?
Not at all. His father's work took the family to Medina in Saudi Arabia. He worked as a ticket clerk on the Hijaz Railway.
That famous railway connecting the Hijaz to Damascus. Vital artery back then.
Absolutely. So Matar got his early education there, in Medina, already seeing a world beyond Sudan's borders.
And the journey back. That wasn't straightforward either, I read.
No, not direct at all. Around 1911, they came back via this long, winding route. Through Dara in Syria, then the Levant, Haifa, Egypt, before finally settling back in Sudan in Wadi Halfa.
Imagine being a kid, maybe 7 years old, on that trip. The sights, the sounds.
Yeah, the experiences he must have absorbed. Overland, by sea. This early, really immersive exposure to different places, languages, cultures, on top of his schooling, it was all subtly shaping him, wasn't it? Collecting experiences before he even knew their worth.
Definitely. So he starts primary school in Wad Madani around 1912. And this is where his particular talent started showing up.
Oh, absolutely. The sources are clear on this. He had an exceptional gift for rote memorization, particularly, and this is key, geography.
Geography. Makes sense.
Right. He studied the geography of 5 continents, and you just picture his world widening with every lesson, every map.
That detail about the imaginary journeys is fantastic.
Isn't it? The teacher would ask the class to, trace a route on the map, say Paris to Vladivostok, across Siberia.
And Fdorna nailed it.
Apparently, yeah. He could recall all the capitals, the major cities along the way, with amazing accuracy. For him, it wasn't just schoolwork. It was, the wanderlust starting to brew. He loved these imaginary trips and wished he could do them for real.
Those teachers had no idea what they were unleashing, did they?
Probably not. They were basically giving a future Sinbad his mental map of the world. It wasn't just names, it was seeing connections, the vastness of it all. For a boy in early 20th century Sudan, that's a huge mental leap.
And speaking of passions, his early life also saw his first, let's say, brushes with rebellion, on a more personal level, though.
Yes. In 1918, he enrolled in the Postal and Telegraph School, which sounds like a really promising path, right? Good starting allowance, 300 piastres, promise of £5 on graduation, solid career.
What?
But as one source puts it quite dramatically, he had his first romantic adventure.
In Khartoum.
In Khartoum, which you have to remember was pretty conservative then, especially about relationships between young men and women. Very strict social rules. Yet Matar, being a matter, audacious, determined, he actually takes a special course at the Greek community school. Why? To learn Greek. Specifically so he could talk to Kuliljanets, a young woman from that community.
No way.
Yeah. He fell head over heels, apparently saw her constantly after work, clearly willing to just push against those social norms for this connection. It wasn't just a crush. It was, in its way, an act of personal rebellion.
Driven by passion. Okay, but how did it become a scandal?
Well, her father found out, sent her abroad pretty quickly, and then, the classic twist, an intercepted love letter. From Matar to her.
Oh, dear.
It somehow made its way to the school headmistress, then to her father, and then boom, to the public prosecutor of the Sudan government.
Wow. So official channels got involved.
Big time. The prosecutor sent the letter to Matar's boss, the director of posts, and the director really had no choice. He had to dismiss him.
So that promising career.
Yeah.
Gone.
Gone. Just like that. The source calls it a scandal, a tragedy, and his first romantic adventure. But you see, this dismissal, while obviously a personal blow, maybe embarrassing, it was actually a huge turning point.
Oh.
It literally cut him free from the shackles of employment, as the source says, severed him from that conventional path, pushed him towards, radical independence, adventure.
It shows his personality already, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Defying norms, going after what he wants, consequences be damned.
Exactly. Willing to challenge authority, even if it started with a romantic impulse. Those traits, they're about to define his much bigger journeys.
Okay, so dismissed from his job, involved in a public scandal. You'd think maybe he'd lay low for a bit, reconsider things.
You would think. But that wasn't Matar's style, was it? That restlessness, that wanderlust, it just came roaring back. He literally disappeared from Khartoum.
Just vanished.
Poof. Gone.
And then, true to form, suddenly reappears. But where?
Where?
Jeddah, serving as an officer in the army of Sharif Hussein bin Ali, the Sharif of the Hijaz. What? How did that happen? That's completely unexpected for a young Sudanese man.
Totally unexpected. He apparently found the conditions there pretty grim, though. Internal instability, financial chaos, soldiers not getting paid, even attacks on pilgrims. Not a stable situation.
And knowing Matar.
He didn't just sit back. He got involved in a mutiny among the officers, clearly not afraid to challenge authority, even in a completely new place.
So that didn't last long then.
No. It prompted the British Consul General in Jeddah, a Lieutenant Colonel Ian, to arrange his repatriation back to Sudan. Basically send him home.
Fascinating how quickly he seemed to integrate, though. Even rise in the ranks, despite the chaos.
Yeah, and he returned to Khartoum wearing a new Hijazi Arab uniform, a visual symbol of that brief, intense experience.
So that stint, short as it was, must have been another steep learning curve. Military life, political turmoil.
Absolutely. Exposed him to the harsh realities firsthand, understanding large systems, how they fail, the failures of power structures. It was like an accelerated course in real-world governance and rebellion.
And you mentioned someone helped with his repatriation.
Yes, Sheikh Fuad al-Khatib, who was the foreign minister of Hijaz, he helped out specifically because he knew Matar's father.
Ah, those family connections again, popping up in unexpected places.
Exactly. It's like his diverse background created this invisible network that kept providing lifelines, even in the middle of nowhere. Almost like his family history paved the way for navigating these complex loyalties.
Incredible. Okay, so he's back in Sudan, wearing his Hijazi uniform. Surely now he settles down.
Not a chance. His next move was, if anything, even more unlikely and arguably hugely impactful. One of his biggest, yet least known acts of patriotism.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where did he turn up next?
Makwar, Sanar, working for an Italian-Sudanese firm called Sandrini.
Sandrini.
Yeah.
They were building the Sennar Dam, right?
Precisely. And this is where Matar becomes a Sinbad, not just of travel, but of, well, integrity, doing something amazing for his country.
The Sennar Dam contract was controversial, wasn't it?
Hugely controversial. It was a massive project, vital for Sudan's agriculture, but the contract hadn't gone through any international tender process, which was immediately fishy.
Why? Who was behind it?
The loan was backed by the British Treasury, and Britain basically controlled Sudan's finances. Yet, the financial secretary, a British Maltese official named Sir Edgar Bernard Pasha, well, the source suggests his Italian wife might have influenced his judgment. He decided against a competitive international tender, instead gave a direct contract to Sandrini. And the terms were astonishing.
What were they?
Sandrini got a 10% fee on all expenditures, wages, materials, overhead, everything.
Wait, so the more they spent?
The more they made, it actively incentivized them to inflate costs like crazy.
And Matar figured this out.
Yeah.
He was just working there.
Yeah, working in the director's office. But he had that sharp mind, meticulous attention to detail we talked about. And apparently, through observations made alongside a Greek employee who handled the files, he started spotting these incredibly clever financial tricks.
Just like that, a junior employee.
It speaks volumes about his intellect, doesn't it? An intuitive grasp of systems, even corrupt ones. He was a natural investigator, it seems.
So what kind of tricks were they pulling? Give us some examples.
Okay, the source gives some shockers. A timekeeper was earning £12 a month. An ordinary clerk, £15.
And what was normal back then?
A government secondary school graduate, maybe £3 a month. So huge inflation. Plus, they imported loads of foreign staff, paid them massive salaries, gave them comfy housing, all charged back to the Sudanese taxpayer.
Poor Muhammad Ahmed, God help him, as the source says.
That's blatant. But was there something more sophisticated going on?
Oh, yes. The real masterstroke, the really insidious part, was this second contract scheme.
Okay, how did that work?
Sandrini would make a deal with a subcontractor, say, for timber or bricks at an agreed price. Let's call it price A.
Right.
Then they'd draw up a second official contract for the same stuff, but at a much higher price, maybe several times higher, price B.
They'd withdraw the inflated price B amount from the treasury, pay the subcontractor the lower price A they actually agreed on, and just pocket the difference.
Wow. That's ingenious in a terrible way.
Yeah.
Siphoning off public money.
Exactly. And it's truly amazing that Matar, still young, no formal financial training, not only spotted this complex fraud, but decided to do something about it.
Why do you think he did? What drove him? Was it just injustice?
It's not spelled out, but think about his background, his father's modest connection, his own defiance. He clearly had this deep sense of patriotism and aversion to injustice. He wasn't just drifting. He had a moral compass.
And maybe seeing how systems could be manipulated.
Exactly. This wasn't just about dodgy accounting. It was about protecting Sudan's future from colonial-era exploitation, even if the perpetrators weren't directly colonial officials this time. It cemented him as a patriot fighting corruption, not just foreign rule.
So he has this information. What's the next step? Who does he go to?
He and Abdelkader Alamin, his friend, discussed it thoroughly, gathered what evidence they could, and then made a crucial decision. They went to the intelligence director, a Mr. Ulster Wells.
The British intelligence director. Risky move.
Potentially, but Wells apparently recognized the gravity immediately. He welcomed the information, understanding its national importance. This wasn't just whistleblowing, it became a covert operation.
How covert?
Matar started making these incredibly demanding, secret weekly trips, Makwar to Khartoum and back.
How did he manage that?
Get this, ride a donkey from Makwar to Sennar. Catch the midnight train to Khartoum, arriving 6 a.m. Sunday. Spend the day delivering evidence, meeting Wells. Then catch the 5 p.m. train back, arriving Sennar at 2 a.m. Monday. Then another donkey ride to get back to Makwar by dawn for work.
Every week. That's insane dedication, the physical toll.
And mental, all done in total secrecy. Only Matar, Abdelkader, and Wells knew, week after week, until they had enough proof.
And
then a formal investigative committee was set up. High-ranking officials. The Director General of the Railway, the Auditor General. Yin took it very seriously.
so they went to Makwar.
They did. Moved fast, ordered an immediate halt to all work on the dam, launched a full investigation, held Sandrini accountable.
And the result?
Sandrini was dismissed, fired, a proper international tender was announced, and guess who won?
Two.
An English company, Pearson & Sons Limited. They took over the project, presumably with much tighter oversight.
In this whole thing, exposing the fraud, saving the money, it was all down to Matar.
The source is unequivocal. It was Matar's achievement. He didn't just expose the scam. He literally saved Sudan millions of pounds, prevented the country from potentially crippling debt.
That's huge. A hidden act of patriotism.
Absolutely. Quiet heroism that often gets lost behind his later revolutionary stuff. But it shows his integrity, his strategic mind, his dedication. He saved his country financially. And now, the world was calling again. Time for the grand tour.
All right, so he's just pulled off this incredible feat, saving the country millions. You'd think, okay, now he gets recognized, maybe gets a nice government job.
Yup, not Matar. That call of the open sea, the road, it was just too strong, too much a part of who he was.
So he leaves again.
He does. The sources mark his definitive departure, June 2nd, 1923, and it was audacious. His father apparently opposed it, wanted him to settle down.
But he went anyway. How did he leave this time? Still broke.
So broke. Started, as he often did, relying purely on his wits. He stowed away again.
In Port Sudan, hiding on a ship.
Yep. Hid until they were well out at sea, but life as a stowaway, as we know, isn't exactly glamorous.
Drew found him, I assume.
Oh, yeah. And maritime law meant they had to put him to work. Sweeping decks, scrubbing floors, peeling potatoes in the galley, whatever needed doing. And they told him straight, first port, you're off the ship. No choice.
And that first port was?
Aden. He gets put ashore. Port authorities give him 4 days. Then the passport police tell him to leave unemployed, no visible means of support.
Harsh. But knowing Matar.
He just tried again, got on another ship, same story. Work for passage, then dumped ashore. This time in Mombasa, East Africa. He just kept going. Setbacks didn't seem to faze him.
So now he's in Mombasa. What happens there? Does his luck change?
It does, a bit. Maybe it's luck, maybe it's just his ability to connect and adapt. He finds work pretty quickly in a health office.
Paid work?
Wow. The salary was 0 rupees.
0. So basically volunteering.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Speaks volumes about his situation, but also his resourcefulness. He got support, though, from Sudanese leaders living there. Mubarak bin Ali Bamkala, and a local Arab cultural club helped out.
Finding community again.
Exactly. And what does he do immediately? Starts learning Swahili, the local lingua franca, and keeps up his English studies.
That's incredible. Even with nothing, he's networking, learning languages.
It shows his resilience, right? And his understanding that language is the key. Always building bridges. It's a pattern.
But Mombasa didn't hold him for long. That wanderlust.
It kicked in again fast, only stayed 2 months. Got tired of the routine, the shackles of employment, that phrase again. He needed more adventure.
So where to next?
Traveled to Djibouti, then hopped a ship to Port Said, back in Egypt, arrived October 25th, 1923, then went on to Cairo.
Yeah.
And here, something shifts. A really significant moment. For the first time, he actually pays for his ticket.
Pays. Where did he get money?
Good question. The source doesn't specify how he got it, but the act itself is symbolic. He bought a ticket from Port Said to Marseille, France, driven by this hidden feeling, this burning desire for travel that had fully taken hold.
So it's not just survival anymore. It's intentional.
Exactly. It's a conscious choice, pursuing adventure, taking control. A shift from being pushed around by circumstance to actually steering his own course towards Europe.
He arrives in Marseille. Where does he go? Does he know anyone?
As luck or fate would have it, he connects with one of his Nudian brothers, a guy named Sadiq. Sadiq owned a coffee shop, a bar there.
Another connection from the diaspora.
Yep. And Sadiq's own story, quite sad actually. Managed a hotel in Egypt, married a German woman, had a daughter, lost them both in the war, their house was bombed. Now, he was just a barman in Cairo, but he helped Matar out in Marseille.
Wow. These encounters add such a human layer. Sadiq's place becomes a refuge.
A refuge, and apparently later a useful spot for discreet meetings when Matar got into his revolutionary activities. It shows how widespread these communities were, how they looked out for each other.
So what does Matar do in Marseille, besides hang out at Sadiq's?
Starts giving English lessons to make some cash. Resourceful as ever. And this is where he makes another big decision. He adopts a new name.
A new name.
Frederick Herbert de Lander, apparently borrowed from a friend who was helping him learn French.
Why change his name?
It seems strategic, shedding an old identity, maybe avoiding any lingering issues, creating a persona better suited for navigating Europe, crafting his own image for the world stage, you could say.
Frederick Herbert de Lander. Okay. Does he stay in Marseille?
No, moves on after a while. Travels to Nice, meets another generous Sudanese guy, Ali Osman, who owned a nice cafe. Again, welcomed, cared for. These diaspora networks were crucial.
But he got sick there.
Yeah, had some illness, ended up hospitalized briefly. A reminder of the physical challenges. But as soon as he was out, straight onto another ship, the Baron Rutherford, heading for Liverpool.
Working his passage again?
Yep. Cleaning brass this time. Just relentless determination to keep moving, illness or not. The journey mattered more than comfort.
So he finally reaches England, London, December 1923.
Arrives in London, stays in a modest hotel, tweaks the name again slightly, F.H. Lender, maybe easier for English speakers.
And he visits Pearson & Sons, the company building the dam.
He does. The very company that took over after he exposed Sandrini. Kind of a full circle moment, isn't it? The anonymous hero quietly observing the outcome of his actions.
But then something terrible happens in London.
Yeah, a really scary incident. Reveals his vulnerability. He nearly died from gas poisoning. He just wasn't used to gas lamps coming from his background. Left one on without closing the valve properly. Passed out.
Oh my God.
Woke up in St. Bartholomew's Hospital. Temporarily deaf and blind. Terrifying.
But he recovered. And the hospital care was free.
He recovered, yes. And the fact the care was free made a massive impression on him. He carried that memory, the source says, like a beautiful memory around his neck for decades. Just profound gratitude for that kindness when he was completely vulnerable.
That's incredible. And didn't he do something about it later?
He did. This is the really striking part. Over 20 years later, in 1944, when he was doing much better financially, he went back to London.
And
he specifically sought out Mr. Davies, the Sudanese government agent there, and made a significant donation in U.S. dollars to be sent to St. Bartholomew's Hospital.
wow. After all that time.
More than a quarter century later. A direct thank you for saving his life back in 1923. It just speaks volumes about his character, doesn't it? Remembering that kindness, wanting to repay it. Deeply human.
It really does. And there was that odd detail about shaving his beard.
Oh yeah, almost comical. He remembered shaving his beard for the first time around then, but had no memory of actually doing it, blamed it on the gas poisoning effects. He was nearly 18.
So from this brush with death, this moment of connection, where does he go next?
He dives headfirst into the political storms of the era. This is where the wanderer really becomes the revolutionary.
Before we get fully into the revolutionary phase, you mentioned an amazing anecdote from Marseille, the gentleman thief.
Oh, yes. It's such a brilliant little story, straight from Matar's own writings. It just adds another fascinating layer to him.
Okay, tell us. He's back in Marseille at Café Sadiq.
Right. Having breakfast. Sees this Englishman who looks really down on his luck, impoverished. Matar, being Matar, offers him coffee, biscuits.
Naturally generous.
Always. The Englishman, Mr. Colley, explains his predicament. Apparently, poor Brits could get meal cards from the consulate, but the consulate and the place you got the meals were so far apart, he'd spend all day just getting the cards, no time left to actually eat.
That sounds ridiculous.
It does. So Matar starts bringing him sandwiches regularly. They become sort of friendly. Matar often takes him out to eat.
Okay.
Then one day, Kali shows up, really excited, says, "Come to dinner with me." Matar, knowing Kali's broke, just laughs. "Dinner? You can barely afford to eat."
Makes sense.
But Kali insists. "I am a rich man," he says, "from a wealthy English family. Come quickly." Matar's intrigued, gets dressed, they grab a taxi to the Marseille railway station.
The train station. For dinner.
Strange, right? They sit on a bench, a train's departure bell rings, and suddenly Kali just leaps onto the moving train, leaves Matar standing there, totally stunned.
What on earth?
But then, as the train is just starting to properly move, Kali jumps off again, walks briskly away, telling Matar to follow him.
Okay, this is bizarre. Where are they going?
Kali leads him to one of the finest restaurants in Marseille, orders a lavish dinner, and pays for it all with crisp, new banknotes.
Where did the money come from?
Matar is completely baffled. Finally asks him, "Where did you get this sudden wealth?" And Kali just grins and says, quite simply,
What?
"My dear sir, I'm a thief."
A thief. How?
Kali explains his method. "I seize the moment when the train is about to move. I go straight to where the bulging pockets are, work on one of them, and get off just as the train starts moving, pickpocketing departing passengers."
Unbelievable. A gentleman thief indeed. What does this story tell us about Matar, though?
So much. His generosity, obviously, his sharp observation, but also his capacity to befriend anyone from any walk of life without judgment, even a pickpocket.
Yeah, he doesn't seem shocked or appalled, just curious.
Exactly. It shows his broad humanity. He saw the person, not just the label or the profession. How does it fit with being a revolutionary? It shows he wasn't some rigid ideologue. He was interested in people, in survival, and the sheer variety of human experience he observed, he learned.
It's a fantastic anecdote. Okay, so from befriending thieves to fomenting revolution, let's get into that transition. He arrives in France.
Right. And almost immediately, he gets swept up really passionately by the news coming out of Morocco, the Rif Rebellion.
Led by Prince Mohammed Abdelkrim al-Khattabi against the Spanish colonizers.
Exactly. Matar would devour the newspaper reports, French, English, and apparently felt genuine joy whenever the colonial forces suffered defeats.
You can imagine how potent that news was, especially for someone from a colonized nation himself.
Absolutely. He saw the asymmetry, this powerful European nation with all its soldiers, gear, airplanes, getting beaten by people who seemed almost defenseless, armed mainly with faith and old weapons.
And this had a profound effect on him.
It was his political awakening, his crucible. Witnessing this heroic struggle, as he called it, changed everything. It wasn't abstract anymore. He saw colonization, saw the colonizers for what they were.
So it wasn't just about Morocco for him.
No, it became universal, a fight against oppression everywhere. It lit a fire in him to fight for Sudan's liberation, yes, but also for, as he put it, all oppressed peoples generally. Abdelkrim al-Khattabi became his hero, his role model, a symbol of resistance.
So this transforms his personal journey into a political mission. He decides he needs to get involved directly.
Precisely. Observation wasn't enough. After he got back from London, he made a conscious decision. Travel to Tangier, Morocco. Why? To make direct contact with the emir, with al-Khattabi. He wanted to be an active part of it.
Tangier. That must have been a hotbed of intrigue back then under Spanish rule.
Absolutely. Perfect place for secrets. And Matar immediately started weaving this intricate network, making secret contacts.
Who did he connect with?
Key figures. Mustafa Ibrahim Decourt, who was actually commander of the international police there. Zaki the Jew, a fabric merchant acting as a discreet go-between. Local notables. He even got secret help from Sultan Moulay Abdelaziz, who fed him news and guidance once he realized Matar's anti-colonial aims.
Incredible. The risks must have been immense, operating right under the nose of the colonial authorities.
Huge risks, and communication was dangerous and expensive. He had to communicate secretly with the emir's special envoy, Alal al-Fasi, using Rafas.
Rafas, couriers.
Yeah, incredibly brave couriers who carried messages through the mountains, across battle lines, at great personal risk. And each message cost Matar £5.
£5. That was a fortune back then.
It shows his commitment, doesn't it? Financial, personal risk. He was all in. He was becoming a real organizer, a master of clandestine ops. The source even describes the Sukachiko, this narrow, bustling market where a donkey couldn't even pass with its load, perfect for secret meetings.
And he wasn't just connecting people, he started forming his own groups.
Yes. While he was in Tangier, he gathered young Arabs he trusted who were loyal to the emir and formed a secret society. He called it the White Banner.
The White Banner, like the Sudanese White Flag League.
Exactly. He explicitly modeled it on the Sudanese group, with its allegiance directly pledged to Sudan.
So connecting the struggles. Transnational anti-colonialists.
Absolutely. He also founded another group, the Sudanese Union Society, had cards printed showing clasped hands over the words Egypt and Sudan. Powerful symbolism, pan-Arab, pan-African unity, seeing the bigger picture.
And he got into propaganda, too.
He did. Started his own small weekly newspaper, Al-Nizam, printed it himself on a foot-operated press, only about 800 copies, but entirely dedicated to promoting the emir's cause, spreading the anti-colonial message.
Wow. He was busy. Did he travel much within Morocco?
Extensively, across French, Morocco to Tétouan, La Roche, Fès, Casablanca, meeting local leaders, pashas, governors, gathering info, publishing their statements in his paper, building a coalition.
He really was multifaceted.
Yeah.
Organizer, propagandist, networker.
Definitely. He even had a secret room set up in someone's house, Captain Monday's house, with a back door, used just for nighttime secret meetings, always thinking about security.
And it was during this time in Tangier that he sent that letter to Abdelkader, the one about the pistol.
That's the one, offering to send him a pistol as a gift or souvenir.
And Abdelkader's reply.
The pistol matter is dangerous, but other things, no problem. An seemingly innocent exchange, right? But it becomes this crucial, tragically misinterpreted piece of evidence later. Such dramatic irony.
We'll definitely come back to that. So,
Right.
the emir recognized Matar's work.
He did. Approved him to start propaganda work in Europe itself, finding arms buyers, setting up smuggling routes, even arranging training for Riffian fighters with European officers.
But his scope is expanding massively now. Military strategy, Europe. This is serious stuff.
Very serious. And this was happening around the time of the Battle of Annual, a huge victory for the Riffians against the Spanish. Matar would surely have highlighted the emir's reported humanity after the battle, helping the defeated Spanish general's family. Good propaganda material.
Incredible. From stowaway to key player in an international anti-colonial network. And then suddenly he's in London, September 1924.
Yes. And not hiding this time. He's appearing alongside the official Egyptian delegation for the Saad-McDonald negotiations. Talk about an elevation.
How did he manage that?
It marked his arrival as a genuine international political figure, and he used the platform brilliantly. Started sending these famous telegrams, published right on the front page of Al-Aram, the big Egyptian paper, dramatically. From Ahmed Hassan Matar in London to Ramsay MacDonald. He was speaking publicly, in his own name, for Sudan, giving Sudan a voice on the world stage, unprecedented for a Sudanese individual back then. A one-man diplomatic mission.
Amazing. But the negotiations failed, right?
They did. Matar returned to Egypt, started making plans to go back to Sudan, potentially a risky move. But then, November 1924, disaster strikes.
Thoroughly stacked.
Sir Lee Stack, the Sirdar, commander-in-chief of the Egyptian army and governor-general of Sudan, assassinated in Cairo.
And a Matar.
Matar, by the worst possible luck, had been at the Ministry of War that very day, just asking about Stack's departure time. Pure coincidence.
But it made him look suspicious.
Immediately. Highly convenient suspect for the reeling British authorities. He was arrested, along with other known Sudanese nationalists.
And they found letters.
When they searched him, they found letters from Abdelkader. At the same time, they raid Abdelkader's house back in Khartoum and find letters from Matar. Suddenly, there's this paper trail.
And that pistol letter from a year ago.
Exactly. That innocent comment about a souvenir pistol from Tangier in 1923 suddenly becomes Exhibit A. The authorities are grilling Abdelkader about it.
And about other phrases like shaking the telegraph wires.
Yeah. They're interpreting everything through the lens of the assassination, spirit of hostility, incitement to murder, trying to link Matar directly to it.
How did Abdelkader react? He must have been terrified.
Under immense pressure. He had to explain, defend Matar, defend himself. He clarified the pistol comment was from 1923, Tangier, just about a gift, customs issues, nothing to do with the assassination a year later in Cairo.
And the shaking wires comment.
Abdelkader insisted it was just youthful exaggeration, Matar being dramatic about his propaganda work. He even told him Matar was incapable of killing even an animal, trying desperately to show how misunderstood it all was, how context is everything.
It highlights how fragile evidence can be, doesn't it? especially in tense times.
Totally. Abdel Qadir was even preparing to testify in court in Egypt, but thankfully, a few months later, the real assassins were caught. Shafiq Mansour, the Inayat brothers.
So Matar was released.
Yes, suspicion lifted. Huge relief, obviously, especially for his parents who'd been through months of agony.
And Matar himself.
Immensely relieved. He wrote to Abdel Qadir, acknowledging that his pistol is dangerous letter had, ironically, saved him by providing that 1923 context, an alibi. And in that moment of relief, Matar apparently vowed to quit politics completely. Too dangerous.
If only it were that simple. Because this is where the spy's grand tour part really kicks in, isn't it, with Abdel Qadir?
This is the complex, heartbreaking twist. Abdel Qadir, still worried, trying to clear his own name completely from the trouble Matar had brought, he makes a deal. A fateful deal with Mr. Davis, the deputy governor of Khartoum.
What kind of deal?
This is the core of the moral dilemma. Abdel Qadir, young, scared, trying to survive, he agrees to become an informant. A claw of the cat, as he later put it, for the colonial power.
How did that work? What did Davis tell him to do?
Davis's instructions were chillingly pragmatic. If you receive any letters like this again, don't burn them. Bring them to your superior, Major Phillips. You'll be doing your government a service.
So keep corresponding with Matar's group.
Yes. Keep sending them information they asked for, even share grievances, details of colonial atrocities, real or perceived. Keep the channel open.
But the catch was?
The catch was he had to give a copy of everything he wrote to the governor first, who then sent it straight to British intelligence, the Foreign Office.
And he got paid for this.
Received compensation, a decent amount for a young man then. So, as he put it, he found himself in the service of colonialism without having intended it, trapped in the crossfire.
And this had consequences for Matar, even though Abdel Qadir thought his earlier letter saved him.
Huge, unforeseen consequences. Suspicion started brewing among Matar's friends. They noticed the envelopes from Abdel Qadir seemed less bulky, where were the big packages of propaganda material. Rumors even started that Matar himself was collaborating with the government. Incredibly damaging.
Is there actual interference?
Seems so. A postal employee later admitted intercepting Matar's letters to remove Marx codes, maybe, and named some revolutionaries. Abdel Qadir, playing his double game, even told the governor to crack down on these employees to maintain his own cover. One guy was threatened, resigned. A tangled web.
Okay, but the real irony, the literary and moral damage part. What was Abdel Qadir actually sending in these reports?
This is the kicker. To maintain trust, he kept sending suspicion-free reports to Matar's group. And what did they contain? Vivid, brutal details of the real events of 1924.
Like what?
The mutiny of the 11th Sudanese Battalion. Horrific scenes from the military hospital. Stark photos of martyrs like Abdel Fadel Almaz. He even wrote the harshest words condemning the colonial powers on the back of the photos and documents.
So, genuine evidence of atrocities.
Absolutely. Descriptions of bodies loaded onto transport trucks. Photos of heads of the martyrs on the roof with machine guns. Chilling images of large, unexploded shells roughly the size of a child. Details about the expulsion of Egyptian troops and teachers. Powerful stuff.
And Matar's group received this.
They saw it as gold. Powerful proof of colonial brutality. Well received, the source says.
And Matar himself overseeing the Middle East network.
This is the incredible twist. He took these reports, these photos, the very material Abdel Qadir was also feeding to British intelligence, and used them brilliantly. Printed them, translated them into multiple languages, distributed them globally. Huge posters on walls worldwide.
So the information British intelligence thought they were controlling
was actually being used by Matar to expose British atrocities on a global scale. They'd inadvertently supplied their enemy with the most potent propaganda imaginable.
That is unbelievable irony. Did Matar find out later?
He did. Much later. When he tried to get his ban on returning to Sudan lifted, the British confronted him with these very reports, the ones Abdel Qadir had passed on as evidence against him. The documents exposing him to the British.
The very words he used to fight for liberation were used to keep him out.
Wow. Profound irony. And Abdel Qadir himself reflected on this years later. He realized the British, by using him as a claw of the cat, probably suffered more literary and moral damage from Matar's global dissemination of their atrocities than any benefit they got from spying on the group.
That must have eased his conscience slightly.
According to him, it did, especially considering his youth at the time not fully understanding the game. But still, what a complex ethical knot. Survival versus principle, unintended consequences. It's heavy stuff. The political fires eventually cooled, but Matar's adventurous spirit, that ability to connect, that never faded.
Right, so after all that drama in 1924, his vow to quit politics. The sources go a bit quiet on his public life for a while.
Yeah, there's a gap until 1936. And when he resurfaces, it's in a completely different role. Quite remarkable, really.
Where does he pop up?
In Egypt, but not as a revolutionary. He's the secretary of the Brazilian delegation to the 10th Universal Postal Congress, held in Cairo, serving as their official translator.
From revolutionary to diplomat, secretary, and translator for Brazil.
It showcases his incredible adaptability again, doesn't it? And his intellect. Those language skills he'd been honing since Mombasa, his international experience. Clearly highly valued,
Right.
moving from clandestine ops to formal statecraft, shows his range.
And those early connections kept paying off too, didn't they? You mentioned Mohammed Naguib.
Yes, his friendship with Naguib, who later became Egypt's president, went way back to their childhood days in Wad Madani, Sudan.
Wow, small world.
Isn't it? Naguib apparently really admired Matar, his writing, his intellect, his global experience, kept encouraging him to join the Egyptian foreign ministry.
And did that lead anywhere?
It certainly did. When Naguib came to power in 1952, he promoted Matar, made him counselor at the Egyptian embassy in Argentina.
Counselor. That's a serious diplomatic post.
Very serious. And the source even hints that if Naguib hadn't been overthrown later, Matar might well have become the ambassador there.
It's fascinating how all those disparate threads of his life, stowaway, adventurer, revolutionary, somehow wove together to prepare him for diplomacy.
Exactly. His unconventional path gave him a unique perspective, skills that conventional diplomats might lack.
And then finally, after all those years abroad, he goes home.
He does. In 1959, his first visit back to Sudan since he left way back in 1923.
36 years. Imagine setting foot back there after all that time, all those experiences.
This had been overwhelming, the Sinbad from the Sudan finally returning. And crucially, this is when he was reunited with Abdelkader al-Amin.
His lifelong friend, his chronicler, the source of so much complexity in his life.
Poignant doesn't even cover it, does it? That reunion after 36 years. And Abdelkader's letter, our source, it ends with him reflecting on writing Matar's story, hoping he'd done justice to him, spurred by his conscience.
You can feel the weight of that conscience, can't you? Trying to reconcile his youthful actions, becoming that informant, with the impact it had on Matar. Their reunion must have been powerful.
Looking back on a life that didn't just shape them, but touched history in unexpected ways, it really underscores the complexity of human connections against these huge historical backdrops.
What an absolutely extraordinary life, Ahmed Hassan Matar.
Yeah.
Just impossible to pigeonhole.
Truly, not just an adventurer, he was a patriot, saving his country from corruption, a revolutionary risking everything, a journalist spreading truth, a diplomat serving nations, and, as we saw, capable of real compassion, deep gratitude.
He really was. His story is such a powerful reminder, isn't it? That history isn't only made by the people in the headlines, the presidents, the generals.
Absolutely. It's also shaped by individuals like Matar, people who operate outside the usual structures, whose sheer audacity, intelligence, determination, it can have a profound impact, sometimes in ways they never even foresaw.
So as you listening reflect on this incredible life, what's the thing that really stands out to you? Is it the daring escapes, the resourcefulness?
Or maybe that intellectual curiosity, spotting fraud, mastering languages, perhaps the quiet heroism of the Sennar Dam affair.
Or maybe it's those complex layers, the loyalty, the betrayal, the friendships that twisted in unexpected ways, leading to these huge, unforeseen global consequences.
Matar's story really drives home that individual agency. Even when it seems hidden or driven by something like wanderlust, it can genuinely change things. And it makes you think, doesn't it, about the real cost of information, the unintended consequences of our actions, personal and political.
And just the intricate web of human connections that underpins everything, even grand history.
Indeed. What does it really mean, then, to be a Sinbad from the Sudan? Navigating a world of shifting loyalties, hidden currents. How much of our path is fate, and how much is just pure, audacious individual will?
Definitely something to ponder long after this deep dive is over.